Segment 1, earthquake and tsunami alerts. The Ring of Fire goes full Michael Bay. It was a classic Wednesday on Earth, dogs barking, coffee brewing, and the Kamchatka Peninsula just casually detonating with an 8.8 magnitude earthquake. That's right, off the Russian Far East, the Earth decided to have a little tectonic temper tantrum. It struck at 11:24 a.m. Kamchatka time, triggering tsunami alerts across the Pacific like your grandma discovering Facebook comment sections. Loud, dramatic, and global. Now, the Kamchatka Peninsula is part of the Ring of Fire, which is not, as I once believed, a Johnny Cash cover band sponsored by Pepto-Bismol. No, it's the geological party zone where tectonic plates play Twister. And boy, did they spin the spinner this week. Following the quake, lava started flowing from Klepper, the largest active volcano in the northern hemisphere, because apparently Mother Nature thought, let's throw in fireworks. But despite tsunami warnings spanning Japan to Hawaii to Ecuador, yes, Ecuador, many regions ended up getting off relatively easy. That's like being told you're going to get hit by a truck and then just being mildly splashed by a puddle. In Russia, flooding hit a fishing port and a kindergarten got damaged because when you're that close to the epicenter, it's either fish or finger painting. Japan got 1-foot waves, Hawaii recorded a 1-meter surge, and California's Crescent City managed a tsunami party wave of 3.6 feet, which is still taller than Trump's wall prototypes. What's amazing is the speed and scale of the tsunami alert system. Within minutes, countries from South America to Southeast Asia were launching warnings, evacuations, and school cancellations. It's like the entire Pacific Ocean was collectively told, brace yourself. And somehow, it worked. People evacuated, warnings were downgraded, and we all remembered we don't just use buoys for Instagram paddleboard photos. They might actually save lives. But this also shows the complexity of global disaster preparedness. Because while the science worked, the messaging was like a group text thread with 20 relatives. Some are evacuating, some are baking banana bread, and one's yelling about chemtrails. Also, can we talk about how an earthquake and a volcanic eruption happened simultaneously? That's not just overachieving, that's geological multitasking on the level of a toddler having a tantrum and pooping at the same time. The Kamchatka combo of lava and waves really screamed, "Happy climate apocalypse, folks!" Segment 2, Gaza's humanitarian crisis, starvation, denial, and diplomatic bedlam. Meanwhile, in Gaza, the news is somehow even darker than a power outage in a tunnel. The UN, global hunger authorities, and basically anyone who knows what food is are now saying Gaza is facing a worst-case scenario of famine. That's not a term you throw around lightly. That's like your doctor saying, congratulations, it's not just a cold, it's smallpox, COVID, and shingles all in one. At least 46 Palestinians were killed overnight, many while waiting for food aid. Just imagine, you wait in line not for Taylor Swift tickets, but for literal flour. And you get shot. Hospitals are receiving bodies of people killed at aid distribution sites. It's like the Hunger Games, only no one's volunteering as tribute and Katniss is getting bombed. The Israeli military says it's only firing warning shots, which in theory sounds benign, until you realize their definition of a warning shot seems to be through the pancreas. At the same time, Israel insists there is no famine, just a little extreme dieting, perhaps. Maybe Gaza is just collectively trying intermittent fasting. Look, denial is a powerful thing. Just ask anyone who's ever tried to cancel their gym membership, or a Trump supporter after an indictment. The international community is trying to step in. Airdrops, aid trucks, angry press conferences, but even the parachuted food often lands in areas people were told to flee or directly into the sea. And nothing says compassion like a soggy bag of rice drifting toward a starving fisherman. And now the UK is stepping up diplomatically. They've said they'll recognize a Palestinian state if, and only if, Israel agrees to a ceasefire, allows UN aid, and commits to a two-state solution. In response, Netanyahu exploded like a pan of microwave popcorn, calling the move a reward for terrorism. France already beat the UK to it, and Arab nations are starting to condemn Hamas's October 7th attack. A notable shift considering this is the first time these countries have publicly agreed on anything since they collectively vetoed pineapple on pizza. The Trump administration is, well, MIA diplomatically. Maybe Steve Witkoff will fix everything when he lands in Israel Thursday. Yes, nothing says diplomatic success like sending a guy whose name sounds like a startup that sells protein powder. We're at a moment when food, basic calories, isn't just scarce, it's weaponized. And in the global political landscape, famine has gone from tragedy to tactic. That's not just a failure of diplomacy, it's a death sentence by spreadsheet. Segment 3, NYC office building shooting when corporate security becomes national security. Back on American soil, specifically corporate America's most glamorous headquarters at 345 Park Avenue in Midtown Manhattan, things got terrifying this week. A gunman armed with an M4 rifle and a backstory that reads like a rejected Netflix pilot entered a high-rise housing the NFL, Blackstone, KPMG, and a handful of other corporate behemoths and left 5 people dead, including himself. His name was Shane Tamura, a former football player for Vegas with a documented history of mental illness and a vendetta against the NFL. He blamed them for a traumatic brain injury, and apparently his way of lodging a complaint was to pack heat, hop in a double-parked BMW, and shoot his way up to the 33rd floor. This isn't Die Hard, this is Die Tired, starring a generation of Americans whose mental health care plan is just bobble it up until the M4 comes out. Among the victims were a Blackstone employee and a Cornell student, because in 2025, your summer internship might come with a trauma counselor. One NYPD officer was also killed while moonlighting as private security because, yes, even the cops are freelancing now. And you know the situation's a mess when even CNN can't get the description right. During live coverage, Aaron Burnett reportedly misidentified the shooter as possibly white, despite early dispatches saying Middle Eastern appearance. I get it, live TV is hard. But maybe, just maybe, don't guess the ethnicity of a mass shooter like it's the final round on Wheel of Fortune. Now, let's talk security. You'd think the headquarters of the NFL would be better protected than Tom Brady's retirement portfolio. But no, dude just walked in. This, combined with last year's assassination of the United Healthcare CEO, has corporations doing a security reevaluation faster than Elon Musk rebrands his latest AI chatbot. Firms are now pulling executives' bios off their websites, scheduling meetings like their witness relocations, and reportedly hiring more security guards than a Marvel movie shoot. Because apparently, in Trump's America, the real war on corporations isn't regulation, it's revenge tours from unstable ex-employees with Google Maps and access to AR-15s. This tragedy underscores just how blurry the lines between personal grievances and national safety have become. It's not terrorism in the traditional sense, but it absolutely is terror, delivered straight to the 33rd floor. Segment 4. Trumponomics strikes again. Jets, tariffs, and free gifts from Qatar. Meanwhile, in D.C., the economy is looking less like a finely tuned engine and more like a used lawnmower that occasionally belches out gold coins. Let's start with the big reveal. The Trump administration has accepted a $400 million Boeing 747 from Qatar. That's right, Qatar just gifted us an Air Force One like it was an impulse buy at a Gulfstream yard sale. And Trump, he accepted it faster than a cameo invite from Kid Rock. The deal was unconditional, but the price tag, classified. Yeah, because when it comes to taxpayer-funded transportation, nothing screams transparency like a Gulf state sending a luxury jet with a bow on it. Oh, and thanks to Pete Hegseth, Fox News host, former vet, current state secrets leaker, we all know about it. Who needs WikiLeaks when you have Pete Leaks? But the economic genius doesn't stop there. Trump's slapping 25% tariffs on India unless they close a trade deal by nowish, because nothing says international diplomacy like bullying the world's largest democracy with the same finesse you use to threaten a used car salesman. India's crime? Buying Russian oil. And your punishment, America? More expensive medicine. Hope your Advil budget is flexible, folks, because we just put a tariff on your headache. And hey, farmers, good news. You're getting a $60 billion subsidy from the administration. That's right, Trump's growing jobs by planting money. But don't worry, it'll be distributed equally. If you're related to someone in Iowa named Bud who owns 400 acres and votes redder than a lobster at a tanning bed. Meanwhile, Russia says they're now immune to sanctions, which feels like the geopolitical version of a frat bro saying, you can't cancel me, I canceled myself first. Oh, and then another episode of The Judiciary is Totally Fine. A prosecutor investigating a sketchy finance case was fired after a conspiracy theorist complained online. Because we now outsource criminal justice decisions to Reddit threads and Truth Social tantrums. Let's not forget, Ghislaine Maxwell wants to testify to Congress if she gets immunity and a list of the questions in advance. She's treating Congress like it's Jeopardy, and she wants to study. We're living in an era where diplomacy is done via jet ski deliveries, healthcare access is determined by geopolitics, and rich people get planes while poor people get planes of existence. Welcome to America 2025. All the drama of succession, but none of the competent actors.
Segment 5, AI marketing, because your blender knows you better than your therapist.
Let's shift gears to something only slightly less terrifying than famine or mass shootings: marketing. Or rather, marketing powered by artificial intelligence, which now knows more about you than your mother, your therapist, and probably your ex. Meta, Google, Amazon, and Comcast are now all rolling out AI tools for hyper-personalized ads. These systems don't just know what you bought yesterday, they know what you'll regret buying tomorrow. We're officially in the era where your browser history can guilt trip you harder than your grandma at Christmas. Picture this. You Google sore back, and within 5 minutes, your phone starts playing a YouTube ad that goes, "Hey Todd, still skipping leg day? Here's a lumbar support pillow your wife already hates." And ad agencies, they're loving it. They don't even need copywriters anymore. Just give ChatGPT your product and a vague tone, and boom, 5 ads, 3 taglines, and a jingle that slaps harder than Will Smith at the Oscars. But here's the rub. The EU is already sounding the alarm. They're proposing rules to force companies to disclose when content is AI generated. Because yes, we've officially reached a point where we need a little robot wrote this label, like it's a Nutrifax panel. They want transparency, they want fairness, they want data minimization. Meanwhile, America's response is, we'll get back to you after the election, maybe. And let's not forget the privacy concerns. Hyper-personalization is just a fancy word for, we've read your email, stalked your Pinterest, and we know your cat's birthday. It's a brave new world where ads are no longer designed to manipulate the masses. They're designed to manipulate you specifically. It's not have it your way. It's you'll have it our way, and we already know what size you wear. Segment 6, asteroid flyby. When a 110-foot space rock becomes the least of our problems. Now for something slightly more soothing, unless you're Bruce Willis circa 1998. Asteroid 2025 OL1 made a flyby today, missing Earth by 1.29 million kilometers. That's roughly 3 times the distance to the moon, or if you're driving in LA traffic, about 36 years. NASA said it posed no threat, which is something we always like to hear when discussing objects hurtling through space faster than your ex leaving a group chat. Still, this space pebble, about the size of a small plane, was moving at 17,000 miles per hour, which makes me wonder, why is it easier to track a rock in space than it is to get a straight answer from your cable company? But here's the upside. Events like this are planetary defense gold. Agencies like NASA, ESA, JAXA, and ISRO all got some great data. Meanwhile, the asteroid probably just photobombed the James Webb Telescope's Tinder profile. And it's not just about today. We've got bigger rocks on the calendar, like asteroid Apophis in 2029, which is expected to pass so close it could mess with your Wi-Fi, or worse, your fantasy football draft. So yes, while this flyby was harmless, it's a reminder that global cooperation on science and defense still exists. Unlike, say, the UN Security Council's group chat, which is mostly ghost emojis and unread ceasefire requests. Segment 7, meteor showers, fireworks from the universe without the patriotic hangover. And finally, let's end on something beautiful, something you can enjoy without a Netflix subscription or emotional damage. The peak of 2 meteor showers, the Southern Delta Aquariids and the Alpha Capricornids. That's right, space is throwing a light show, and all you have to do is look up, assuming your HOA doesn't have a rule against stargazing after 9 p.m. Both showers are peaking together, giving us a cosmic duet of 12 meteors an hour. That's basically the Milky Way's version of jazz. Sporadic, beautiful, and mostly appreciated by people who wear fleece at night. The Alpha Capricornids are known for their long-lasting fireballs, which is great because when the Earth is literally on fire, it's nice to see fire in the sky that won't immediately affect your homeowner's insurance. And the best part? No telescope, no app, no $10,000 VR headset required. Just your eyeballs and maybe a blanket. It's the most democratic astronomical event since Venus kind of looked cool that one time. These showers come from comets, 96P Mach-Holtz and 169P NEAT, because even space has its regular garbage cycles. As the Earth passes through their cosmic litter trail, we get fireworks. It's recycling, but celestial. So while the world burns, crumbles, and litigates itself into oblivion, the universe just keeps spinning, throwing sparks like it's trying to tell us, hey, maybe chill for a second and enjoy the view. Segment 8. Wrap up. Earthquakes, algorithms, and meteor fireballs, oh my. So, to sum up July 30, 2025, the Earth tried to kill us, the skies politely passed us by, and we all got a little more paranoid about ad tracking software. We saw a seismic sucker punch off Kamchatka, a volcanic temper tantrum, and the biggest tsunami alert system since the day after tomorrow started trending again. But thankfully, the damage was limited, proving that sometimes the end of the world takes a rain check. Meanwhile, Gaza's crisis continued to unravel with children dying not from bombs, but from hunger, while the international community argues over who's allowed to hand out bread. Diplomatic tectonics are shifting too. France and the UK are recognizing Palestine while the US doodles "I heart Netanyahu" in its foreign policy notebook. Back home, corporate towers are becoming soft targets, and everyone from the NFL to Blackstone is rethinking security faster than Fox News rethinks a Chiron. Mental health, media responsibility, and public safety collided in a single 44-story tragedy. The Trump show rolled on with new tariffs, secret jets, and judicial firings inspired by conspiracy TikToks. And AI has officially reached the point where it can sell you socks before you realize your current ones have holes. But somewhere out there, a meteor flashed, an asteroid zipped by, and for one beautiful moment, we all remembered the sky doesn't care about our nonsense. It just keeps twinkling. That's it for today's Klepper's Corner. Until next time, watch the skies, question the politicians, and for God's sake, stop clicking on Instagram ads for suspicious vitamin gummies.